solving this midterm today. So go ahead and run through it. We're going to need a for loop here. Notice that there's post back here because whenever we click this, two things can happen. And we're also going to need a for loop here. So we're going to go ahead and start that. So first we have to set the focus to the list box, and then next we're going to use that auto post back saying if yes is selected, do this, if not, run that. And this is going to be the code for that, and make sure that you set the selected index to -1 so it resets it when no is selected. So that's the code for the auto post back. And then we're going to go ahead and start the checkout button. So we're first going to declare some variables that we can use for calculations and getting data. That'll be our total. This will act as how many characters we selected. And this will be the price of the characters. Alright, so first we're going to need to start a for loop. What we're going to need to get, let's store a couple strings real quick. This str first is going to act as if only one item is selected. So then it's only going to run through this if statement once, and if not, it'll run through the else statement. You'll see in just a second. So we're going to loop through the list box. So the first if is just to see if it's selected. Now this is where we're going to use that first. So if, and it's going to equal false because we set it to false. So it's going to run through that the first time, and we're going to go ahead and use that items. Now we're going to set that back to true, so it only runs through this once, and that's if only one item selected. And if more than one item is selected, it's going to run through this else. And this else is just where we collect all of it. And then within that loop, we're going to go ahead and get the total. So that'll give us the total of all the items we selected. We'll go ahead and get outside of that for loop. And then we're going to go ahead and add that period to those items. So that'll put a period there. Now we're going to need the for loop for the characters. And we're also going to need to see if they're selected because we only want the ones that are selected. And if they're selected, we're going to go ahead and use that int marble we created. So this acts as a counter, and every time it runs through that, and if one's selected, it's going to go ahead and add 1. So it's just going to go 1, 2, 3, or how many of are selected. So now we know how many. So that deck marble that we created, now we can go ahead and use that counter we just made, which keeps track of how many we selected. And we times it by 200. since we know how many they each cost $200. And then we'll go ahead and add that to the total. And then we'll go ahead and start our label. It's just going to be that items that we made because we already put it into a string on the top. And we're going to go to break tag. And now we only want this statement if int if there are more than one character selected. So once again, we only want that if there are characters selected. So we can use that counter that we made. And if that's true, that in a currency and add a break tag. And now we can finally get our total. Put that into currency too. And then lastly, we're going to go ahead and clean up. And here is the cleanup code. So now we can go ahead and run the page, test it out. So that works. We'll try the yes now. And as you can see, we have a fully functioning page now. So that's all for today.